I'm going to review the book, Helter, Skelter, which was written in the 70s by the prosecutor of the Manson trials. And it's fascinating. He goes through all of the investigation, how it took a long time because different police departments were working on it. He had to do a lot of his own investigating and collecting of evidence. They tried Manson with the 3 girls in one trial, each with separate attorneys, which was wild. Other people were being killed. One witness, there was an attempted murder by other members of the family. One of the defense attorneys disappeared. Turned out he had been killed. It was a wild trial. The jury was sequestered for 9 months. At that time, it was the longest trial in history and the most expensive. And it's a fascinating story. I guess a lot of people probably don't remember it, but Manson had like a cult, and they decided that, well, it was such a bizarre philosophy, but they thought they were going to take over basically society by starting a race war by killing white people. And so they just butchered several people. And the prosecutor not only had to convict the people who actually, held the knives and the guns, but Manson, who ordered the killings, or at least influenced those very, very young girls and a couple of young boys into committing these horrendous acts. Because if you argue that Manson ordered it, then you can argue that the young girls and young boys had diminished capacity and they weren't really guilty of their actions. But everybody was guilty and they all got the death penalty. But then California at that time ruled the death penalty unconstitutional, so they were commuted to life sentences. And Susan Atkins died in prison. Manson died in prison. The other 2 girls and the boys are still in prison. One of the members of the family that took over for Charles Manson in terms of administering the family was Squeaky Fromm, who ended up trying to shoot Gerald Ford, and she was put in prison for it, but she's out. She's been out for 10 years. And it's a very interesting book. It was an interesting trial. It was interesting to see how he managed to convict them. And the explanation behind why it happened was just so bizarre. It was late 60s, early 70s. Things were happening in California. And this was one of the really ugly parts. So I thought it was a fascinating book, Helter Skelter, true story about the Manson trial and what happened before leading up to it, and what happened after that, how many retribution murders and other plans were made. So I recommend it. Helter Skelter by Vincent Bugliosi, who was the prosecutor, and he wrote it with Curt Gentry, who was the writer. So enjoy.